A tempo bounces down a dusty 7-kilometer stretch of road. Inside sits a lonely 2-year-old boy, crying quietly. Behind him, pulling out of the Falna railway station, is the train carrying his mother away. He is heading back to the small town of Bali, Rajasthan, where he has just been left in the care of his grandmother. The arrangement is entirely practical. The matriarch of the family needed companionship, and the youngest grandson was selected to fill that space. His presence was the solution to a family problem. His grandmother was proud and aging, and she refused to be alone. At 2 years old, he became her permanent companion. Bali was a place defined by its slow pace and quiet corners. For the next 10 years, the dust of these streets and the strict boundaries of his grandmother's house would become the entire enclosed reality of his life. In a world where he is a tool for his grandmother's comfort, the boy must learn to protect himself. He is surrounded by a kind of love that requires him to be small, quiet, and, above all, stationary, while the person he loves most moves on without him. Inside his grandmother's house, life was governed by unyielding rules. There was no food permitted after sunset. When discipline was required for breaking these rules, the young boy was placed entirely alone inside a terrifyingly pitch-black room. But instead of breaking under the isolation, the boy adapted. He learned to be quiet and undemanding. Over time, he turned the pitch-black space of that room into a private environment where he could exercise the one thing he possessed: logic. Curious, revealing tone. This grid represents his mental timeline. Lying awake in the dark, he developed a secret ritual. Because his mother visited once a year, he counted backwards: 364 days, 363, 362. But the moment her train left, the math resets. The cycle begins again. It was the same rhythm when an aunt and uncle arrived from Mumbai. They brought sweets, warmth, and 5 days of laughter, followed inevitably by the sharp, familiar pain of their rapid departure. He survived this constant rotation of arrivals and exits through arithmetic. By turning permanent absence into a strictly measurable sequence of days, he made his helplessness manageable. This deep isolation became sharpest during the festival of Diwali. While his 5 siblings celebrated together in another state, with abundant fireworks and a large, joyful family gathering, the boy in Bali faced a starkly different, entirely quiet reality. He would stand at a busy stall like this, staring at the vibrant stacks of firecrackers. In his hand, he held exactly 50 paisa. He didn't stand there out of self-pity. He carefully calculated the exact sparkler his coins could afford. He was practicing the dignified, precise mathematics of a survivor, maximizing his limited resources. Up until age 9, he at least had a witness to this life. His older brother, 4 years his senior, shared the silence of the house. Then the older brother turned 12, and he too was abruptly sent away to the state of Karnataka. For the next 3 years, the house took on a new, absolute level of silence. At 9 years old, he was truly, completely alone. Mother, uncle, aunt, brother. The boy internalized a harsh, repetitive reality. Loving someone requires mastering the practice of their absence. Then, at age 12, the ultimate countdown reached 0. His parents arrived in Bali to pull him out of the town for good. Saying goodbye to his grandmother is complicated. For 10 years, she enforced the hunger after sunset and the silence of the dark room. Yet, in a life defined by departures, she was the only one who stayed. He took a final look at the crucible of his childhood, the dusty streets, the cracker stall, and the quiet, dark spaces of that house. He boarded the train, leaving the familiar dust of Rajasthan and moving toward a state where he did not speak the language. He traveled toward near-stranger siblings, to a household that had continued for a decade without him. But the 12-year-old looking out that window was fully formed. He had spent 10 years learning how to endure the dark, calculate his survival, and bear the weight of waiting. He carried that quiet resilience into Karnataka, and he would rely on it for the rest of his life.